All right, this is part two of Big Red's eggs, or first clutch. Actually, I'm gonna need you to hold this so I can pick the eggs up. Basically, you just pick them up as a group. They're all stuck together, and you just gently pick them up. And the first thing we'll do, looks like they're a little stuck to the paper, so pull that real gentle. And if there's a little bit left on the bottom, that's not a big deal, but generally it comes off pretty easily. She laid these early this morning, and I'm just real gentle pulling that paper away, and it's coming right off. The first thing we do is weigh the clutch so we can keep track. We got 669 grams, and we already made up a clutch card. And last year, we looked up the records. Last year, she laid her eggs on April 11th, believe it or not, and she just laid them on April 11th again. So we just have the date she laid the eggs, and then we'll put in, what is it, 668 grams. And then we'll take that occasionally and make sure that the eggs should gain weight gradually. And then towards the end they'll start losing weight. If they're losing weight in the beginning, then that could mean that your vermiculite is too dry. So that's a good reason to keep track of the egg weights and make sure they're doing good. So after that, I've already got, I knew she was going to lay soon, so we already made up a box and had it in the incubator for a couple days, and just write on the side who it is, how many eggs, when they're laid, and then I generally go 55 days and put a due date so I know when she should be getting close, or when they should be getting close to hatching. And the vermiculite is pretty easy to set up. You obviously want it to be damp, and it should feel damp, but it should not be wet. And when you squeeze it, you shouldn't see any water. It should clump together but break apart easy. And it shouldn't squish water or water bubbles out or anything, but it should feel wet, and it should clump like that when you squeeze it together. So what I'll do is just make a depression for the eggs, just as shallow, real shallow, nothing serious. And we'll set the eggs in there. Now if the eggs were loose, I would mark them on the top so they didn't get turned. But since they're all together as they were laid, we can just take them and set them right in there as they were. Now this one's stuck up on top and there's a big space underneath, so I'll just fill that in to give it some support with the vermiculite. And then I'll take the rest that I scooped away and brush it in and get it up on the eggs. Kind of snug them in to bed. Try to get some in those big cracks in the middle. Just kind of work it down in there. And you can brush the extra off the top. Just make sure there's some in here to support this one. And I would just, if I had to mark the tops of the eggs, I would just use a pencil. That works just fine. It doesn't cause any problems. And that's it. Put the lid on, and we'll stick them in the incubator. The lid doesn't have, I like these iris tubs because they're nice and square and visible, and I actually put them so I can see long ways. I guess that's because I don't have a whole ton of eggs to fit in my incubator, so I've got the room. If I need to, I can set them sideways and stack them on top of each other. But there's no holes. I just check them every couple days and take the lid off, and that lets the gas exchange and fresh air get in there. So it'll just sit like that pretty much though for 55 days. I'll stick it in here. And and let them cook. And hopefully get some gargoyles this year. Thank you. See you later.